Assalamualaikum and hi. My name is Ameerah Binti Raja Muhammad Khairuddin. My matric number is 056929.
Hi, my name is Nurul Afiqah and my matrix number is 056685.
Assalamualaikum and hi, my name is Afifah Binti Anuar and my matric number is 056577.
And hi, my name is Lissa Binti Amir and my matric number is 055659.
Throughout this video, we will explain about the overview, share price analysis, beta analysis, standard deviation, and covariance of 8 companies that we have chosen from the chemical and diversified industry. We will also explain about the industrial risk impact. The 8 companies mentioned are Petronas Chemical Group Berhad, Lissa Corporation Berhad, Imaspro Corporation Berhad, Astronic Berhad, Nilex Malaysia Berhad, Hill Industries Berhad, Lotte Chemical, and Ancom Berhad. First, let's start with the first company, which is Petronas Chemical Group Berhad. PCG was founded back in 1985 with almost 3 decades of experience in the chemical business. PCG also was originally directed by Chairman Wan Zulkifli Wan Arifin in 1985. PCG has 11 manufacturing facilities in Malaysia and around the globe, such as the Netherlands, Canada, Germany, and Singapore. PCG also have research and development labs in Malaysia and the Netherlands. PCG operates with 6 divisions of products such as silicone, lube oil additive and chemicals, and more, as you can see on the screen right now. PCG produces a variety of commodity and specialized chemicals that are utilized by the client in the different industry, from agriculture to automotive, packaging to personal care to improve people's life. Now, let's see PCG's share price analysis. Based on the graph you see on the screen right now, PCG's share price was fluctuated throughout the year from January to October. On 1st January, the share price of PCG was 6 ringgit 71 cents. However, it started to fall slightly until it reached the lowest price for 2021 with only 6 ringgit 52 cents. Throughout the middle of March until the middle of October, the graph showed that share price was fluctuated and only reached the highest share price with 8 ringgit 71 cents at 15 October. The graph showed that PCG share price did not change much between the week, even though there are some slightly rise and fall throughout the year. Now, I will explain about the beta analysis of PCG. Initially, the volatility of a stock in relation to the wider market is measured by its beta, and it is a notion that measures how much stock is projected to move in relation to the wider market. As you can see on the screen right now, the graph shows a fluctuated trend of beta for PCG throughout the year from January to October. The beta in January 2021 was 2.38, which means that the stock fluctuates more than the market over the time and falls to 1.79 in February. This shows that it offers a high risk as the beta in February exceeds 1.0. In March and April, the beta fell slightly to 1.51 and 0.24 respectively. However, if you can see in this graph, the beta trend started to significantly increase in May with 3.04. This shows that the stock has fluctuated more than the market and it is riskier compared to those beta that does not exceed 1.0. The trend of the beta hit its peak during the September with a record of 5.95, higher compared to the previous month. PCG's standard deviation was 2.67%, which is a standard deviation that close to zero means that the data points of PCG is close to the mean. PCG covariance was 0.0161%, which means PCG and KLCI have a higher value of variable, therefore, there will be a positive covariance. Next, let's take a look at Lissa Corporation Berhad. Lissa Corporation Berhad has existed in the chemical industry since 1984. As of March 2020, Datuk Kwan Foh Kwai becomes the chairman of the corporation. This corporation has continuously supplied its product across the globe, such as in Thailand, Singapore, Indonesia, Vietnam, and more. In addition, Lutz Corporation Berhad owns 7 subsidiaries company outside and inside of Malaysia. Lutz Corporation operates under 2 activities, which are the manufacturing and trading of resin related product and also latex processing for latex industry. Moving on to the share price analysis of Lutz Corporation Berhad, it shows that Lutz share price are also fluctuated during the first week of January until the last week of October. As at 1st January, the share price of Lutz was 72 cents and it slightly increased, become 73 cents during the third week. However, if you look at the graph, you can see that the trend of the share price started to hit the peak of the price, which is at RM 87 cents as at 23rd April 2021. The trend started to fluctuate again and hit the lowest share price at RM 70 cents on 30 July 2021. Next, let's take a look at Lutz Corporation beta analysis. As you can see in the graph, it shows that the beta trends for Lutz also fluctuated from month to month. Each month shows how the stock beta at 6 or below the 1.0. As in January, the beta was negative 0.49. The trend of beta falls to the lower point in 2021, which was negative 4.09, and it started to significantly increase to 3.04. The increasing of beta makes the stock's risk profile becomes riskier than before, and there was a potential of a higher return. However, the trend of the beta hit the peak of the trend in June with 4.70. In July onwards, the beta trend started to fall and recorded the lowest point with negative 8.24 in September, unlike the other previous months. It leads to a less risky stock profile with lower returns. Lutz standard deviation was 3.41%, which is a standard deviation that close to zero means that the data points of Lutz are close to the mean. Lutz covariance was 0.0076%, which means that Lutz and KSCI are having a higher value of variable, therefore there will be a positive covariance.
Pro Corporation Berhad ICB was formed as a public company limited by shares in Malaysia on 28th of June 2004. On January 2026, ICB was successfully listed on Bursa Malaysia Security Berhad Second Board. The corporation owned one of the Malaysia's largest agrochemical database with over 200 local and international pesticides registration. Pro Corporation Berhad is a holding company that specializes in the production and marketing of pesticides and other agrochemicals products. The group's primary activities are the production and distribution of high-quality, cost-effective agrochemicals and pest control products such as plant micronutrients, herbicides, insecticides, anti-fouling agent, termicide, cypermethrin for wood, borer, foliar, fertilizer, fish emulsion, and seaweed extracts are among the products available. Below show the 5 direct wholly owned subsidiaries of the ICB groups of enterprise. The chart shows the Board of Directors of Pro Corporation Berhad. Datuk Captain Hamzah bin Muhammad Noor as the Chairman, Mr. Tong Chin Han as the Executive Director, Mr. Chen Sung Fang as the Senior Independent Non-Executive Director, and the Non-Executive Director, Mr. Chan Wang Fui, Datuk Captain Hamzah bin Muhammad Noor, and Mr. Chan Kim Hing make up the board. Based on the graph above and the data obtained from Yahoo Finance website, it shows that Pro Corporation Berhad shows a fluctuated trend starting on the 1st January 2021 up until the 31st October 2021. As at 1st January, the first week of 2021, Pro Corporation Berhad achieved a share price of Rm 1 ringgit and 96 cents and was recognized as the lowest share price throughout the timelines. However, Imas Pro Corporation Berhad's share price start to rise to Rm 2 ringgit and 70 cents on the 21st February 2021 and then fluctuate until hitting the peak of the share's price on the 12th week as at 19 March 2021 with Rm 2 ringgit and 60 cents. Next, let's take a look at the beta trend of the Imas Pro Corporation Berhad, which fluctuated starting from the January 2021 until October 2021. In January, the beta was lower than 1.0, which reflect a more tense than the overall market. Then, in February, the beta hits its lowest beta at negative 6.6424, which also reflect as the lowest risk but has the lowest return potential. Meanwhile, in March, the beta shows a higher number of increases but decrease again in the 4th and 5th months until it hits the peak at 5.9581, which also reflect as the highest risk but has the highest return potential. Although high betas can indicate price volatility in the short term, remember that they do not always roll out in the long term prospect. 5.659% is the standard deviation of Imas Pro Corporation Berhad, which is quite further to zero, which indicates that the data points are a little further to the mean. When price move widely, standard deviation is high, this meaning that an investment will be risky. The covariance between Imas Pro Corporation Berhad and KLCI is 0.006845%, which indicates a negative covariance, which means that they have varied in an opposite direction. Artronic Berhad, originally known as Plus Trade Technologies Berhad, which was established as a public limited company in Malaysia on 29th of August 2022. The company operates in 4 segments, which are firstly the resin compound for wire and cable, resin compound for other industries, information and communication technologies, ICT products, and others. There are 3 main subsidiaries of Artronic Berhad, which are Artronic Sendirian Berhad, Artronic Innovation Sendirian Berhad, EA Global Integrated Sendirian Berhad. Trading computer, hardware, software system, peripherals, and accessories for retail and corporate customers is one of Artronic Sendirian Berhad core business. Meanwhile, Artronic Innovation Sendirian Berhad focus on comprehensive and efficient hardware for the point of sale, post, panel PCs, and mobile computing business. Lastly, EA Global Integrated Sendirian Berhad intends to become a global prestige distributor for premium smartphones. The chart below shows the board of directors of Artronic Berhad. In 2019, Mr. Sang Kin Leong was appointed as the Chief Executive Officer of Artronic Berhad. Meanwhile, Mr. Stephen Wong Chin Fang as an independent non-executive chairman, Mr. Tan Tian Woi and Mr. Chong Tak Chin was appointed as the independent non-executive director. Lastly, Mr. Tan Su Jin was appointed as an executive director of the companies, which was also appointed as the executive director of EA Global Integrated Sendirian Berhad and other subsidiaries. As you can see from the graph, it shows that Atronic Berhad shows a fluctuated trend of share price starting on the 1st January 2021 up until 30th of October 2021. For your information, this data was obtained from the Yahoo Finance website. As at the 1st January, the first week of 2021, Atronic Berhad achieved a share price of RM1.96 and steadily increased until hitting the peak of the share price at RM0.82 at the 8th week. However, the share price started to fall to RM0.42 and hitting the lower price throughout the timelines at 0.30 cent at 18th of June 2021. Then Atronic Berhad share price was still able to climb back to a much stable price on 15th of October 2021 at RM0.34 cents. Unfortunately, it's starting to fall again at RM0.33 cents at the last week of October. Now I will explain about the beta trend in Atronic Berhad, where the beta was higher than 1.0 in January, which reflect a riskier than the overall market. Then in February, the beta hit its lowest beta at negative 3.2282 and keep increasing until it hits the peak at 5.3170 in the 5th month, but drastically hits its lowest at negative 13.3507 in June. Then the beta started to increase again to 0.4328 in August, but in September it started to decrease to negative 3.4946. Lastly, the beta increased again to 0.6889 in October. If a company's beta higher than the market beta, there will be a large risk, but the premium obtained by investing in the company will be considerable as the firm's share price can fluctuate drastically. 10.41% is the standard deviation of Atronic Berhad, which is quite further to zero, which indicates that the data points are further to the mean. When price move widely, standard deviation will become higher. In this case, it will mean that an investment will be risky. Negative 0.00701% is the covariance of Atronic Berhad, which indicates a negative covariance. A negative covariance means that they have varied in an opposite direction. Therefore, the lower the magnitude of the product, the weaker the relationship between Atronic Berhad and KLCI Berhad.
Hello, my name is Ameerah and I would like to share some information with you about Nilite Malaysia Berhad. Nilite Malaysia Berhad is a Malaysian public limited liability company that was founded in 1970. In Malaysia and ASEAN, Nilite is the market leader where their product and brand are well recognized as a mark of quality and innovation. Now, Nilite Malaysia Berhad is a major participant in the chemicals, plastic and polymer industry with a revenue of more than 1.5 billion and 13 subsidiaries primarily in Malaysia, Singapore, Indonesia and Vietnam. So if you are wondering what product that this company produce, basically Nilite Malaysia Berhad manufactures PVC leather clothes, films and sheets, geosynthetics and rational mold product. Each company, including Nilite Malaysia Berhad, has its own board of directors. Dato Anuar bin Ahmad was appointed as independent non-executive chairman in January 2020. Datuk Siew Kawe was appointed as Group Managing Director in January 2002. Edmund Chia Swee Ling and Tan Sri Datuk Lin Siyang are both Independent Non-Executive Director, and Khamis bin Awal is Non-Independent Non-Executive Director of Nilight Malaysia Berhad. There are three business divisions in this company, which are the Polymer Division, Industrial Chemical Division, Logistic Division. The Industrial Chemical Division generates the majority of Nilight Group's income. The division is divided into two business segments, which is distribution and manufacturing. The distribution business division sells and distributes a variety of petrochemicals and industrial chemicals throughout Asia Pacific. Ethanol, phosphoric acid, adhesive, and sealant are all produced within the manufacturing business segment. Now, let's take a look at the share price of Nilight Malaysia Berhad. Based on the graph, it shows fluctuating share price data from January to October. Based on Yahoo Finance website, the share price was 64 cents in the first week of January. The share price began to climb in March, reaching 79 cents and has since steadily increased. The share price, on the other hand, reached 91 cents in the middle of April. Following the high, the share price began to decline and dropped to 82 cents at the end of May. Nilight Malaysia Berhad's highest share price was at RM 1.13 cents on October. The share price did not change considerably between January and October. Moving on to the next graph, this is the beta trend for Nilight Malaysia Berhad from January to October. What I can say based on the graph, the beta in January was at 0.4183, which is less than 1 and indicate that it is less volatile than the market. In February, however, the beta was negative at negative 0.0046. This means the investment is moving in the opposite direction of the stock market. Low beta stocks are less risky, but they offer smaller return. Nilight Malaysia Berhad's beta began to rise and peak at 6.2678 in March 2021, which is the highest level recorded. This beta is riskier and more volatile than previous negative beta, but it also has a bigger potential return. However, in October is less risky and has a smaller potential return because the beta declined to 0.0332 from the previous month that was recorded at 3.5265. Standard deviation for Nilight Malaysia Berhad was at 4.86%, which is quite a high number. A positive deviation occurs when the data value is greater than the mean. Covariance between Nilight Malaysia Berhad and KLCI is 0.0001, indicating a positive covariance. A positive covariance exists when the return of stock Nilight Malaysia Berhad rise when the return of stock KLCI rise, and the same connection exists when the return of both stock falls. Hill Industry Berhad is another firm in the chemical and diversified industrial sector that I would like to introduce to you. Hill Industry Berhad is a Malaysian investment holding company that manufacture and sell industrial and domestic plastic molded products. On the June 1991, it was transformed to a public listed company and it was listed on the KLSE on January 1992. Hill Industry Berhad is a leading one-stop custom injection molder of engineering plastic in Southeast Asia with over 40 years of expertise in the plastic injection industry. Hill made its first step into the international market in 2006 with the establishment of its factory in China. Hill Industry Berhad has its own board of directors just like any other company. Tan Sri Dato' IR Eng Bung Thong, who has served as Executive Chairman since July 2003, is a head of Hill. Hill Industry Berhad, on the other hand, has 7 directors, which include 1 Managing Director, 2 Executive Directors, and 4 Independent Non-Executive Directors who work together to secure the company's bright future. The firm operates in three segments, which is manufacturing, property development and management, trade service and others. Molded plastic goods for industrial and domestic use are manufactured and sold by the manufacturing division. In Malaysia and the People's Republic of China, the Property Development and Management Division is in charge of developing residential, commercial, and light industrial assets, as well as renting out buildings and providing property management service. The Trade Division and other divisions are in charge of general trading. As seen in the graph, Hill Industry Berhad share price fluctuate throughout the year from January to October. Based on the data from Yahoo Finance, the share price was at 96 cents in the first week of January, rising to 98 cents in the third week of January. The share price, on the other hand, reached a high of 1 ringgit and 4 cents in the third week of February. The trend continued to fluctuate until the middle of July, when the share price fell at the lowest price of 89 cents. However, the trend began to rise and peaked at 1 ringgit and 3 cents in September before dropping slightly in October to 85 cents. Hill Industry Berhad's share price was at 1 ringgit at the end of October. Moving on to the next graph, the beta trend for Hill Industry Berhad changed across the time frames from January to October as seen in the graph. The beta in January was 0.5011, which is less than 1 and indicate that it is less volatile than the market. In February, however, the beta was negative at negative 2.6913. This means the investment is moving in the opposite direction of the stock market. The beta began to rise and peaked at 2.8485 in the March 2021. This beta is riskier and more volatile than previous negative beta, but it provides a bigger potential return. Unfortunately, the beta dropped to negative 7.3308 in June, which was a dramatic decrease. The low beta stocks are less risky, but they offer smaller returns. Then, the beta trend began to greatly increase in September with a higher share price of 4.9634. This showed that the asset's price is more volatile than the market. The beta trend began to progressively fall to 2.3636 in October, showing that the beta is less risky and has a lower potential return. Standard deviation for Hill Industry Berhad was at 3.30%, which show a positive amount. A positive deviation occurs when the data value is greater than the mean. Based on my calculation, the covariance between Hill Industry Berhad and KLCI is 0.0001, which showing a positive covariance. When the return of stock Hill Industry Berhad rise and when the return of stock KLCI rise, there is a positive covariance, and the same connection obtained when the return of both stock decline.
Now, I would like to give a short review about company that I choose in chemical industry, which is Lord Chemical Titan Holding Berhad. Lord Chemical Titan, established in 1989, is Malaysia's first and largest integrated producer of olefin, and one of Southeast Asia's largest integrated producer of olefin and polyolefin. Lord Chemical Titan production site in Malaysia consists of 12 plants, 2 cogeneration plants, and 3 tank farms that are located in Pasir Gudang and Tanjung Langsat. The achievement in this company are Lord Chemical Titan acquired PT Lord Chemical Titan Nusantara, Indonesia's largest polyethylene plant in the country in 2006, while in 2010, Lord Chemical Corporation largest become one of overseas subsidiary. Lord Chemical Titan Holding Berhad has their own line board of directors. Tan Sri Dato' Abdul Rahman bin Mahmad was appointed as the chairman of the board on 31 March 2017. Mr. Pak Hyun Chul is their non-independent executive director, also known as President and Chief Executive Officer. However, in Lord Chemical Titan Holding Berhad, there are 3 directors under independent non-executive, one non-independent executive director and one non-independent non-executive director working together to raise the name of the company. In principle of activity of Lord Chemical Titan Holding Berhad, the company and its subsidiary is an integrated petroleum chemical producer with two principal product category polyolefin and olefin. Also, the company products are mainly distributed to plastic fabricator and trading house in both domestic and export market. Now, in a graph on share price of Lord Chemical Titan Holding Berhad, we can see that the share price fluctuates each week from January to October 2021. During the first week on 2021, which is on 1st January, the share price was RM2.41. However, the trend of the share price started to increase in the third week on 15 January was RM2.64 and slowly slightly fall in the fifth week and hit the lowest share price for the year 2021 at the 11th week, which was on 26 February with only RM2.03. Besides, it significantly increased in the incoming week and the trend started to fluctuate during the middle of March until the end of April. The share price hit the highest price with RM3.60 per unit, which was on 30 April 2021. Throughout the middle of June until the end of October 2021, the share price showed a fluctuate trend. Move to the next graph is the analysis of beta in Lord Chemical Titan Holding Berhad. On January 2021 was 2.798, which means it be riskier but have a large return potential. Next, in March, the beta drastically increased and hit to the higher at 10.250, which means that the stock in March averaged more than the market over time. Also, continually trend will hit the bottom at negative 4.347 during April, which also reflects as the lower risk and lower return potential. However, the beta trend started to significantly increase in May with 9.347 and fluctuate within the following 2 months. It also obviously shows that stock has fluctuated the highest risk but highest return potential. The trend of the beta started to significantly decrease to 0.439 but slightly increased again to 3.470 in September and maintain the trend of beta more than 1.0 in October with 2.686. Next, in the standard deviation for Lord Chemical Titan Holding Berhad was at 6.05%. That show positive amount, which means the data value greater than the mean. The covariance between Lord Chemical Titan Holding Berhad and KLCI is 0.0273%, which indicates a positive covariance. A positive covariance shows that two variables reveal that the pair value of both variables tend to increase together. Next company that I choose is Enchem Berhad. Enchem Berhad was established in 1969 as Ansur Berhad, pioneering the manufacture of agriculture, chemical and herbicide. On 29 March 1990, it became a public listed company. Enchem is the holding company of Nilek Berhad and Enchem Logistik Berhad, which are listed on Bursa Malaysia, Security Berhad, Main Market and the ACE Market respectively. The principle of activity by Enchem operate in 6 segments, which is investment holding, agriculture and industry, chemical, logistics, information, technology, media and polymer. So for board of directors in Enchem Berhad, directed by Datuk Siew Kawe, was elected as the executive chairman on 2 January 2018. Enchem Berhad has 6 directors in independent non-executive and has 1 non-independent non-executive director, and Siew Kao Kiong was appointed as an alternate director to Datuk Siew Kawe on 2019. So we move to the last graph on share price for Enchem Berhad. As we can see, it shows that the share price also fluctuates each week from January to October 2021. During the second week of 2021, it already hit the lowest share price with only RM99. Starting from the 7th week, the share price started to slightly increase to RM1.27 and the trend started to fluctuate. Throughout the start of April until the middle of October 2021, the share price showed a fluctuate trend and only as on 22 October 2021, the share price hit the highest price with RM2.78 per unit. In the last graph above show that the beta trend of the income Berhad fluctuates starting from January 2021 until October 2021. In January, the beta was 0.757 and slightly hit the peak at the 7.268 in February, so that the asset price is more volatile than the market. Then, in March, the beta slightly decreased to 3.102 and 2.943 in the third and fourth month until it increased to 6.833 in May, which also reflects the highest risk but higher return potential. However, in June, the beta slightly decreased again at 4.524 until hit the bottom at negative 1.174 in October. That show a lower than 1.0, reflecting a less riskier than the overall market. Next, for standard deviation of income Berhad was at 6.43%. It showed a positive amount, which means the data value greater than the mean also. In covariance between income Berhad and KLCI is 0.0152%, which indicate a positive covariance also. In conclusion, a positive covariance means when one moves, the other moves correspondingly in the same direction. Therefore, the greater the magnitude of the product, the stronger the relationship between them.
The chemical and diversified industry risk analysis will have an impact on government policy, as the government has a lot of power over the free market. Governments and central banks implement fiscal and monetary policy that have a significant impact on the financial market. Secondly, it will impact the unemployment rate, where it might decrease because despite from a risk industry like chemical industry, this industry give many job chances for the individuals who suffer from job loss. Then, the chemical and diversified industry continuous growth has been aided by the government regulation and a favorable corporate climate. Lastly, as nowadays COVID-19 or novel coronavirus spread are very dangerous and risky, therefore the government initiative in SOP to prevent the spread is by advise the people to cook and eat their dinner will help to increase the demand of plastic consumption, because they will buy the groceries with the plastic bag and go to the stall to buy the food with a plastic bag, which will increase the demand.
Chemical industry may affect the economy's gross domestic product, or known as GDP. Generally, it was reported that the chemical industry affects practically every good-producing sector, contributing an estimated $5.7 trillion to global GDP through direct, indirect, and induced effects, or 7% of global GDP, and sustaining 120 million jobs globally. While as for the local GDP, Malaysia's chemical industry generated 7.4% of the country's GDP when it was reported back in 2012. This shows how the chemical industry has left a footprint and huge achievement for the country's economy. Since the chemical industry is at the center of various value chains, it is also served as solution provider for other economic sectors, which is critical for a long-term economic recovery. This chemical industry at the end leads to more innovation that can benefit the country's economy while developing the country to be an updated and successful country by utilizing the industry and its resources. So, it is important to continuously innovate and develop new ideas for the nation's economy, such as products and services that promote a circular economy, low carbon transition, and fulfill the demand of growing population.
I will continue to explain risk analysis in terms of social aspect. The key social risks for chemical companies are demographic, safety management, and the growing influence of consumer behavior. Chemical companies face demographic changes from rising population, urbanization, and expanding economic development in many parts of the world. While the overall continued rising demand for chemical products may produce growth opportunity for well-prepared companies that can innovate, they also increase risks that related to the manufacture, transport, and consumption of chemical products. The chemical industry is not just harmful to the environment, it also plays an important role in social aspect. Without a doubt, the chemical sector is important to the social and economies among all countries. Almost every sector of the economy benefit from this industry. It is used in the production of pesticide and fertilizer, as well as other products that we use on our daily basis. It used in the textile, premises, and healthcare industry, as well as automobile sector.
The fourth aspect is environment impact include global and local factors. The extension of the chemical industry in the 20th century throughout the world lead to the dangerous trends such as acid rain, greenhouse effect, ozone layer depletion, global climate change, exhaustion of fresh water, and damaging fertile land. It was clear, therefore, that global solution must be found to restrict the adverse impact of the chemical industry on the environment. Next, the primary effect of the chemical industry on the environment and on the lifestyle as well is due to the pollution arising from the industry activity. Lastly, internal environment in the chemical industry arising from daily tactical business activity that will result in reduction, deterioration, or breakdown of goods and service provided by the companies as risks relate to the business interruption, employee error or omission, failure of IT system, litigation, or even loss for supplier. Appropriate system with adequate capacity, security arrangement, facility, and resources are in place to mitigate risks that could cause interruption to the chemical industry critical business function.
To end our presentation for today, we can conclude that based on the 8 companies chosen, the majority of the beta for the chemical and diversified industry show a high beta stock with a value more than 1. This indicates that the beta is riskier but has a bigger potential return. So if you are wondering whether is it profitable to invest in a chemical and diversified industry, you have come to the right place. We may claim that investing in this industry are valuable since this industry has outperformed others industry in its value chain. The chemical industry produces a wide range of products that help us in almost every part of our life. It has been able to sustain the increase in profits that have been produced by its productivity improvement activities. So that's all from us. Thank you for your attention. I hope you enjoy our presentation and have a nice day.